Thank you, Karishma Lakhani. I can say your name. I'm honored to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Timothy Law Snyder, President of Loyola Marymount University. Dr. Snyder began his term as Loyola Marymount University's 16th president on June 1st, 2015. He has over 4 decades of experience as a teacher and a scholar, and a deep commitment to Ignatian education grounded in his work at 3 Jesuit universities before LMU. Among many other accomplishments, Dr. Snyder is a nationally recognized speaker. I lost my place. Among many other accomplishments, Dr. Snyder is a nationally recognized speaker on ways to educate the millennial generation. You can find his podcast for students featuring his original music on iTunes. It's worth mentioning that Dr. Snyder was a lead singer in a rock and punk band in the late 70s. That's way cool. He's a very cool university president. Please join me in welcoming President Snyder.
Thank you, President Jeffrey. This institution is blessed to have a president of your wisdom, experience, and style. President Jeffrey, Interim Executive Vice President Shimusu, trustees, faculty, student support professionals, staff, administrators, families, mothers, fathers, siblings, tias, tios, grandparents, spouses, children, friends of the class of 2016, members of the class of 2016, I too welcome you and thank you for honoring me with the opportunity to speak with you on this glorious occasion. I've learned a bit about Santa Monica College since my arrival in LA last June, and I am inspired by the quality of education, student care, diversity, and opportunity that Santa Monica College has brought to each of you. I admire the quality of the student body, the full-time students who've dedicated their main activity toward their growth, the part-timers who balance the many demands of their lives with their academic pursuits, and the great mix of goals that students have here. We at LMU, as many of you know, have a wonderful symbiotic relationship with SMC. 1/4 of our transfer students are SMC students. We enroll over 100 SMC students at any moment. Our SMC Black collegians and Adelante students spend 10 days researching every year on LMU's campus, working with our faculty and our staff members, and they exemplify ways in which we collaborate and how our work together will continue as our future rolls forward. My goals today are 2. One is to congratulate you. Congratulations, class of 2016. One goal down. My second goal is to teach your last class. Educate you a little more if I can. You're at the edge of graduation. And at that moment, we have to take stock of our future, that annoying, unknown future. But it's not quite unknown. We know a few things about our future. We know a few things about ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about both. Let's talk about that future. Times are not just changing, but they are changing more quickly as every frame goes by. Change is accelerating. 11 revolutions of the sun ago, we didn't have a YouTube. 300 hours every minute now of content is uploaded to that. Just 5 revolutions around the sun ago. Instagram? No. What was that? Virtual reality is about to change our visual dimensions from 2 to 3 in so many ways. The entirety of display phenomena will change, and they will become personally explorable in that extra dimension. And our change is not just technological. Conflicts have morphed from territorial skirmishes to complex conflation and conspiracy of economics, religion, technology, geography, communication, sociology, and so much more. And trust me, as you move on, you're going to see some mammoth changes. When I was in school, I had to speak with my folks by taking bills somewhere and getting change, standing in line, and then you'd put it in the phone. Now, you just text your parents, or you send them your geolocation pin, and they know exactly where you are at every moment. That's amazing. You poor souls. So with certainty, our future will require us to be nimble, to be educated as you are, and not just on the specifics, but you will have to be lifelong, nimble learners. And this leads me to my first piece of advice, of 3 I will share with you today. In our swiftly changing world, be a nimble, lifelong learner. I could say more about our future, but I'd like to say a few things about the most important piece of our future, and that is you. Most of you, though not all, are from the much chattered about millennial generation, the one that is ever judged, ever unfairly judged, ever met with anecdotal observation by the sages who have preceded you, who have it quite often flat out wrong. Quote, the millennials don't want to have a conversation. All they want to do is spend time with those damned phones. By 2020, millennials will, quote, spend most of their time, most of their energy sharing short social messages, being entertained and being distracted away from deep engagement with people and knowledge. They'll lack deep thinking capabilities and face-to-face social skills. These sentiments come from a survey of persons currently occupying leadership roles in organizations like Google, Microsoft, Cisco, Yahoo, Harvard, MIT, and Yale. But in fact, a new study from Weber Shandwick and the Institute for Public Relations found that millennials value in-person interactions at work and after hours even more than did and do baby boomers and Gen Xers. Yes, members of SMC's 55 and older emeritus college, even more than ye and me. It's a fact. And these facts remind us of another feature of our future. These findings remind us of another feature. The 2 million years of human evolution that we have in common will continue to drive our basic tendencies, no matter what our technology, no matter what our surroundings, and no matter what today's leaders think about you. You will continue to engage one another face to face, despite what society now wishes to claim upon you. And our evolution brings us to the heart of what I want to leave you with today. Children today are being raised in ways that are bizarrely disconsonant with our shared evolution, and particularly our human needs for creativity and identity. Are millennials pampered, self-obsessed, clueless to the challenges of the real world? No, no, and no. And here's why. I have long contended that your generation's greatest challenge is you've not been raised in environments that allow you to rehearse creativity as much as you will need to. Practice it, fail at it, learn to succeed at it. I like to say that many modern parents now train their children to accomplish stunningly complex tasks, but rarely without a recipe, algorithm, or incrementally succeeding process to assist our children. Too many parents obsessively walk their children through the steps of a learning process, often doing all the talking, all the way to college admissions events. And I've seen this where the parents speak fully on behalf of the prospective students. Parents accompany students to job interviews. I know one who actually, well, I'll spare you the details. We had to get a restraining order on a parent for a student after they had quit their job after being employed. Strange. In short, too many today are raised to jump through hoops, and too few are challenged to solve on their own problems that require creative solutions. But meanwhile, let's think about that along with one other ingredient here. Let's together imagine two gardens. Gardens A and B. And let's imagine two people who approach our two gardens. Person one, when approaching the gardens, sees in Garden A nothing but a field of beautiful flowers, and sees in Garden B nothing but weeds. Person two approaches and sees in Garden A nothing but weeds, and in Garden B nothing but beautiful flowers. What's happening here? Our scenario reflects well the current state of political discourse in the United States. One is compelled to be either a conservative, a Republican, and believe that 100% of the conservative agenda is spot on, and 100% of the liberal agenda is flat out wrong. Or one must be a liberal, Democrat, and see that the Democratic agenda is fully correct and the Republican one purely maligned. Is it possible, with the myriad contemporary issues we face, that only two alternatives exist? Well, last I checked, and the math majors are going to agree, a set of 20 yay-nay issues yields over 1 million possible platforms, not just two. At Loyola Marymount University, we believe, as part of our Catholic heritage, that all persons are born persons of dignity. Persons born in the image of God. Now, no matter what your religious beliefs, I'm sure you will agree that those who live in the world of our two gardens and drink in every tenet of one script and deny every facet of the other have stripped themselves of their own dignity, their very identity. And that leads me to my second piece of advice. When you approach the world's two gardens, the world's many gardens, create your own bouquet. Create a bouquet consistent with your identity, distinct to yourself. Now, amidst this two-garden world, your generation has clearly identified a strength yet to be fully recognized or used by our human culture, and that is the value of difference, diversity. You recognize that minds different, backgrounds, ancestries diverse, can create in ways unlike what any of us as individuals or like-minded identities can create. You recognize the value of diversity in solving world challenges, people challenges, mental challenges, environmental challenges. And that's what tends to upset our youth today the most. In a world in which so many have been raised with recipes that can restrict creativity, and in a world in which we are showered with examples of people, leaders, even parents, who follow exclusively a slate created by others, nobody should be surprised when students rebel on behalf of Black lives, immigrants, jobs, or advocacy for diversity in a search for creative solutions to today's challenges. And with this in mind, I'm led to my third piece of advice, and it's a simple don't go it alone. So many of our younger generation, in disappointment, if not disgust, have levied demands upon their leaders with no zeal for compromise or discussion. I ask that you utilize that human desire to meet face to face, no matter how challenging. Formally, and this is piece of advice number 3, embrace encounter. Recognize and help others understand that the very nature of diversity demands encounter, demands collaboration, demands understanding, demands almost always compromise. Help others see that in the same way that advocates do not issue ultimatums to one another when forming their agenda for action, the outcome agenda must be a plan for encounter that emulates the creation of that agenda, that collaboration. Do as our LMU students did this year on 2 occasions. Rather than issue demands, issue goals, joint goals that allow for us to have collaborative solutions. I want you to know that amidst my open expressions of what I see in our generational cultures, I am a most expressive champion of you and your future. You have seen things and experienced things that no human beings have ever experienced. You have expressed earlier in your lives more than has been expressed personally, politically, proactively, and in some cases professionally, than has been expressed in human history. Because of you, students, I am bullish on our future. Every waking day, working with students, as is the case, I think, with the faculty here at SMC, I witness persons determined and equipped to help the world become a better place for those here, for those to come, and for the earth itself. So let me summarize my 3 pieces of advice. Number 1, in our swiftly changing world, be a nimble, lifelong learner. 2, when you approach the world's gardens, create your own bouquet. And 3, embrace encounter. Every evening when I retire, I ask, has the world become a better place by my having been here since my head last separated from this pillow? My hopes and prayers for you on this day of glory is that you will ask this question and that the answer from you and from your community going forward is a loud, glowing, affirming yes. God bless each of you. And I cannot say with enough joy for you and our world, congratulations. Enjoy.